really has pitched well here at home, much better than on the road.
A lot of our viewers have asked us about Fox Tracks and what it all means and how it all comes together. We're going to show you that when we come back. Hello, Aggie. Great to see you back home here in St. Louis. Decade brings on new technology. Fox Sports Midwest is pleased to introduce a new innovation in Cardinals baseball. It's called Fox Tracks, giving the location, pitch type for every pitch thrown. And now here's more.
Our Fox Tracks graphics are powered by the Pitch Effects tracking system that's installed in every Major League ballpark. The system uses 3 cameras strategically placed to track each pitch. Unlike radar guns, which report the speed only once in the life of a pitch, the Pitch Effects system tracks the ball along its entire trajectory for a much more accurate and consistent speed calculation. With all of this new tracking information, we can now identify each pitch's type, rotation, break, and where it crosses the front of home plate. The Pitch Effects system is accurate to within 1 inch, or about 1/3 of a baseball. We take all of this information and turn it into our Fox Tracks graphic, a great tool to bring new insights to America's pastime.
And hopefully tonight for Dave Duncan and Kyle Loesch, a lot of strikes on that Fox Tracks. Baseball from Busch Stadium is coming up next. Cards take on the Nationals. Ball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Budweiser. With full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do. By Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers, #1 for quality tire service and expert auto service. By Steak and Shake, life needs flavor. And by Chevy's Expert Auto Service. See your Mid-America Chevy dealers or shop and compare at stlchevy.com. Downtown St. Louis, crowd still filing in on a cold and could be a rainy night. Who knows what we're in store for this evening? And let's take a look at the Nationals lineup. Willie Harris will lead it off to a slow start. Then Christian Guzman, he's been hot at 322. Ryan Zimmerman at 330. Josh Willingham, their left fielder. Pud Rodriguez, the future Hall of Famer. Former Cardinal Adam Kennedy. Ian Desmond, their young shortstop. Roger Bernardina. And then Craig Stammen. And Kyle Loesch is the starter for the Cardinals. His numbers presented by Marshall Wireless Sprint. He's 0-3, ERA that's close to 6, and opponents hitting .323 against him. And if you're looking for a bright spot for Kyle Loesch this year, it's been at home. He has been better here at Busch Stadium.
Pitched much better at home. He did not face the Nationals last season, but he was 2-0 in ERA over 1 2 years ago. And let's hope he can get his first victory of the year. He really going to have to contain these left-handed bats. Saw overall high average, but lefties are batting .361 against him.
2-0 pitch to Harris, right down the middle. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, is behind the plate, calls the balls and strikes tonight. Sam Holbrook over at first, Brian Knight at second, and Greg Gibson over at third. 2-2. It's 56 degrees.
And this could be a pretty good offensive club. But talking with Jim Riggleman, he told me that, and there you see what the lefties and the righties have hit against Kyle Loesch, said his offense really hasn't caught fire yet.
Here's a ground ball right side past Schumacher and into right. So leadoff base hit for Willie Harris. Third year with Washington. Did .235 a season ago. The defense, Holiday, Rasmus, Ludwig. This is presented by Dobbs. On the infield, Freeze, Lopez, Schumacher, and Pujols. And the battery tonight, Kyle Loesch and Yadier Molina. That's presented by Dobbs. Christian Guzman at .284 a season ago. A switch hitter. Spent 6 years in Minnesota and now in his 5th year with the Nationals.
Really hot 10-game hitting streak.
That's the longest streak for any Nationals player this year. Tied for the second longest active streak in the major leagues behind Russell Martin, the fine catcher of the Dodgers, who's at 11 games.
And he's hit .484 during that streak, so a lot of damage. Mr. Triples.
That's right.
Particularly when he was with the Minnesota ball club in the American League.
So these two should know each other a little bit, Loesch and Guzman. His longest streak was 23 games. He did that last year. And behind him, you have really a budding star. And I say budding, but he's been a superstar that's been under the wraps in many ways because of the non-success of the Nationals. That's Zimmerman. A broken bat into shallow right. Ludwig there to make the catch. It was just a season ago, their third baseman who will dig in, Ryan Zimmerman, was the Gold Glove winner at third. He beat Scott Rowland there. Won the Silver Slugger Award and was also an All-Star. Quite a campaign as he hit .292, but the power numbers, 33 homers. He drove in 106 and off to another great start here in 2010.
Very little time in the minor leagues. Former #1 draft pick. Just really played a handful of games down there, as you see Jim Riggleman. But from 05 to the present, Zimmerman is the all-time leader in runs, hits, doubles, home runs, RBIs, and games played.
He had that interim tag for a while, Jim Riggleman, but you and I both agreed he should be the everyday manager, and management with the Nationals agreed. And here he is in his first full season as their full-time manager.
Yeah, he told me, and they're a much better club. They always, they can put a pretty good offensive club up there. He said they really haven't hit as well as they will. They're pitching a little better in their starting rotation, not going deep, but their bullpen is so much better with Caps at the end.
1-0 pitch hit it at deep right field. Ludwig is back near the wall, and he's got it up against the wall. Stays in the ballpark, and there's 2 outs.
With about 56 degrees, if it was about 20,
Good
25
point.
degrees warmer, like we will expect. This ball is out of here. Set up away. A little bit more of the plate. You know, it didn't get it far enough out, but there was enough room as he goes back and puts his back up against it. Fans delight.
So 2 outs. Cleanup man, Josh Willingham, who's hitting .265. 6 home runs. He's driven in 12. Runner goes. Great jump. And Molina still got it. How about that? It was an incredible jump by Harris. He'll throw his helmet as Molina threw him out. Bottom of the first coming up. No score as we move to the bottom of the first, and Harris eliminated on the base pass and the great throw by Yadier Molina. Felipe Lopez, good to have him back. The switch hitter, he'll lead it off, and then Ludwig and Holiday. Pujols, Freeze, Rasmus, Molina, Schumacher, and Loesch. That's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. We talked about it an awful lot on the pregame show, but that's not a misprint. Matt Holliday batting third. Albert Pujols drops down to fourth. Craig Stammen is the starter for Washington, the right-hander making his 8th start. He struggled with an ERA close to 6 and .299 average against him. And here's the switch hitting Lopez, who's in there at shortstop. He's been activated from the DL, and Brendan Ryan has the night off. Tyler Green has been sent down. Slowly hit to second. Easy play there for Guzman. One away. Washington defense anchored by their Gold Glove at third, but Willingham, Bernardina, and Harris in the outfield. Zimmerman, Desmond, Guzman, and Kennedy along the infield. And there's your battery anchored by Pudge Rodriguez. That's right, Adam Kennedy playing first base.
Yeah, Adam Dunn a little under the weather, so the veteran. Former Cardinal second baseman, now playing first base.
What kind of glove is he using there? Is that a infielder's glove or a first baseman's mitt?
Leather.
I figured it was leather, Al, and that's why you are ahead of the game.
And I would kind of figure that it's a first baseman's glove, but I'm guessing too.
1-0 pitch. Misses. So give me your thoughts on this lineup. Moving Holiday to third and Pujols to the cleanup spot.
I like it. And, you know, Holiday was not really producing much from a statistical standpoint behind Albert.
Popped up, Kennedy over, and we'll run out of room.
You know, his production, he was hitting 300. He's hitting 300, but he really wasn't driving in Albert or runners on base. He got about a 170 average with runners in scoring position. So I think this kind of maybe helps jumpstart. Maybe Holiday will get better pitches hitting in front of Albert. And if there are guys on front, Albert have a chance to drive those guys in.
2-1 pitch.
The interesting thing is it was Albert's idea.
Said that to Tony La Russa. Tony La Russa conveyed that to the media. So you hit in front of Pujols, you will get pitches to hit, but will anybody be on for Holiday to drive him in? That's been his problem, is runners in scoring position. Ludwig is swinging a miss and a strikeout. And there's 2 outs. Well, before the game, you had that feature on Fox Tracks, and here's another look at it.
And there's that slider off the plate that the team continues to chase.
So here's Matt Holliday. Now, Holliday and Pujols in that series against the Reds combined went 4 for 20. Pujols did have the 2-run homer in Game 1, and that was the only game the Cardinals would win as they find themselves in second place tonight. It's been 22 games since Matt Holliday's last home run, and that was April 19th when we were in Arizona.
All 4 of his home runs have come on the road.
Last home run was against the Chicago Cubs in that walk-off homer to right center in the Cardinals bullpen late last season.
And Albert went through a lengthy drought before he hit that home run Friday night in Cincinnati. So in May, the power surge has really dropped off for the Redbirds.
Tony has always said ideally, you know, you would put Pujols as your cleanup man, but he always wanted Albert to hit in the first inning. That also was part of the equation of batting the pitcher 8th to try to get damage in front of Pujols and have him a chance to drive somebody in. 2-2 the count.
And let's don't lose sight of the fact that Matt Holliday is hitting .299, and it just went under .300. So, I mean, this is still a very productive hitter hitting in front of Albert.
Here's a 2-2. Full count.
Stammen, you know, normally has pretty good command. He's only walked 8 in 37 innings, and 4 of those 8 came in his last start in just 5 innings.
3-2 is hit out of play.
Now there's a pitch that, you know, may have been outside, but because it's a 3-2 pitch, you've got to protect the plate, and Holliday spoiled a pretty good pitcher's pitch.
And we'll do it again. Another 3-2 pitch. This time they'll go inside on Holliday. And he draws a walk in front of Pujols. Well, here's some of the numbers for Pujols. Last time that he started a game and did not bat third was back in 2003. It was May 30th. The Cardinals lost to the Pirates at Busch Stadium that night, 7-3. It was Eduardo Perez who batted third in that game. And since May 31st of that season, every time Pujols has started a game for the Cardinals, he has batted in that third spot. A streak of 1,046 games. And tonight, his 235th career start in this spot. So it's not something foreign to Albert Pujols. He's done this before.
No, and Albert is going to hit wherever they put him. 310 is a little bit light for him. Mentioned he had 7 of his 8 home runs came in April.
Outfield is deep for Pujols. You know, we've always talked about protection for Albert. You go back to last year when there was no Matt Holliday, and Pujols had a tremendous first half of the year.
He really did, and he solidified his 3rd MVP and 2nd in a row with his first half. But Cardinals got out to a very similar start last season, and about this time fell out of first place.
Pujols, a base hit into center. Holliday stops at second base, so he's in scoring position. Plaza Tire Service, Exmo Cam, and the steadiness of Albert Pujols.
You know how it's just so little movement, but watch how the head. If the head moves, the body moves in wrong directions, but his head is so steady. You could draw a circle there and it'll stay right inside it.
So 5th place hitter Colby Rasmus.
He will be the key now to see if he can offer protection.
These guys have bounced around this lineup. Colby's been in the leadoff spot. He has hit 7th. And tonight he is batting 5th. Mark McGuire was asked about that prior to the game, and he said, I love it when Tony mixes up these lineups. I'm not sure the players do, though. Some guys are creatures of habit with that.
And I know Kobe Rasmus, when he moved to the leadoff spot, I asked him what he thought about that, and he did not like it. I can also tell you is I just don't understand why major league hitters, I can understand have a preference what spot in the order you like to bat, but why they have a problem.
If you can hit, right?
Exactly right.
2-0 the count here on Colby with 2 runners on. Got a home run on Saturday night. That was number 7. That gave the Cardinals a brief 2-1 lead. Good rip. Talk about getting back at home, Al, and winning games and not playing catch up and trying to get this offense rolling.
Well, they are very good when they score first. Cardinals have a marked advantage, and that's one thing about this Washington ball club. Last 12 games, they have not allowed the opposition to score in the first inning. Cardinals are 15-5 when they score first.
2-1 the count. Colby had 16 home runs a year ago and already 7 here in the middle of May. Taken outside. 3-1. David Freese on deck. And you mix up the lefties in this lineup too. Lopez a switch hitter. Rasmus in the 5th spot from the left side. Schumacher's dropped down to 8 from the left side.
In a lot of ways, I like this lineup better than ones I've seen earlier.
A 3-1 pitch. Colby in the right. That's a base hit. Harris comes up firing to the plate. It's cut off. And Holiday scores. A 2-out base hit for the Cardinals center fielder to make it 1-0 here in the first.
One of the keys is working that count into a hitter's count. 3-1 set up away. It's a sinker. Catch a little bit more of the plate. It's down, but he likes it. Oquendo, he's going to challenge most outfield arms, and here is the case, and gets away with it with ease. Colby had been struggling a little bit, but here he gets a hitter's count. He gets a pitch that ends up around the knees and laces it out into right field for the RBI, his 17th of the season. The Cardinals have a 1-0 lead, and that's what we just talked about. They're 15-5 when they jump out on top.
David Freese leading all rookies in batting average at .306. Second in RBIs behind Jason Hayward, as David has 22, Hayward at 28. But this is where he has picked up a bunch of them out with 2 outs and runners in scoring position.
He really has. He's done a remarkable job. It's just very, very comfortable. But boy, does he come up with a lot of RBI opportunities. That's great to see.
David Freese cranks one into right. It's at the wall. It's at the wall. Ball is loose out there. Freese to second. 2 runs will score. And the rookie diving into third with a triple. 2-run score to make it 3-0.
His natural power is to right center. And so there's right in his wheelhouse as he drives this ball. Harris goes back on. He's not a real big guy. Crashes into the wall, knocks him down, can't hold on to it. And 2 runners will score, and David slides in head first and a little bit pleased with himself right here as the Cardinals jump out to this 3-0 lead. He said they have not, Nationals have done a good job of not allowing the opposition to score in the first inning. First time in 13 games. Now their pitching is a little bit better, but the one thing, their bullpen has been outstanding, but their starters not going deep. So many of the decisions for the Nationals are in their bullpen.
First career triple for Freese, Holiday, and Pujols driven in. All this done with 2 outs. That was Steve McKetty, the pitching coach for Washington, out there to visit.
A's pitcher.
Here's Molina. He fights it off. Base hit. And a run scores to make it 4-0. The 2-out hits. RBIs all coming with 2 outs here in the first.
Right, this ball is up and in, and just uses his hands. Gets his hands in on him, and inside out stroke, and just plunks it over really about where Kennedy was standing into shallow right for the RBI, his 23rd.
So the 8th man to come to the plate now, Skip Schumacher. Then the pitcher on deck.
How can you stop this lineup?
Oh, you've been saying it for weeks, Al. It's a juggernaut, even when it wasn't a juggernaut.
Sure glad I recommended this to Albert.
Who then took it to Tony.
Yes.
So this all stems from you, Al.
And then he conferred with Jim Hayes, and Jim accepted it.
Signed off on it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Go back to Molina just for a moment. He's standing at first base. And Willie Harris had a tremendous jump in the top of the first against Kyle Loesch, but with his arm and quick release, I didn't think there was any way after seeing the initial jump that he would get him, but caught him stealing. Little momentum carries over into the bottom of the first, and the Cardinals have a 4-0 lead.
And Willie Harris is a guy that can run.
Yes.
That's the weapon that he is. 2-time Gold Glove winner. He has the highest percentage throwing out would-be base stealers since he came on the scene in 05. And in most cases, he just shuts down the running game. Most clubs don't even try.
There goes Molina. He's picked off, but it doesn't matter. It'll be a stolen base for Yadier Molina. Throw is a little bit wild to Kennedy. He couldn't come up with it. And Molina has another steal.
It's a good lesson right there. When you do leave too early, don't stop and get a rundown. These are big leaguers. Most time they're going to get you. But here, the high throw, Kennedy couldn't hold on to it. And even with Molina's speed, many times if you just put your head down and run straight ahead, you'll get there ahead of that throw and tag.
5 straight have reached with 2 outs, and that's a foul ball off the foot of Schumacher. Now with first base open, even though there is 2 strikes on Skip. If you fall behind here, you do have Kyle Loesch on deck. And last 3 games, we noted this over the weekend, that Skip looks like he's starting to come out of it a little bit. 4 for 10, couple of RBIs and a double. Cardinals have 4 runs here in the first. They had scored 4 runs or less in their last 5 games.
You carry that a little longer. 12 out of 14 games, Skip has hit him in May.
There's a little grounder backhanded by Kennedy. Good play. Low throw with the pitcher covering. So big first inning for the Cardinals in the return home. 4-0 after 1. over Washington as we move to the top of the second here in St. Louis. And we always talk about the weapon that Yadier Molina is. How about this? Getting Harris with that good jump to end the top of the first. You think about momentum if it carries over. Well, the meat of the order did some damage in the first. A walk and then a base hit by Pujols. Colby came through. David Freese off the wall in right. And Molina with a 2-out base hit. All the runs scoring with 2 outs for the Cardinals. And it adds up to a 4-0 lead.
That's 8 for 14. 8 caught stealing, 14 attempts for Molina.
Josh Willingham looks at a strike. Big now for Loeschau with his struggles. He's been given a 4-run lead. Shut the door, have a good outing.
Just relax. Go out there, pound the strike zone. Just, keep the ball down. Utilize that sinker. Get on top of the breaking ball so it stays down. Pitch out of the middle of the plate.
1-1 pitch, taken low. Let's see if he gets back to that 2-seam fastball that was so successful a couple of years ago. As you mentioned, that breaking ball, he's thrown that more this year. And more times than not, that pitch has been up.
It's like he is establishing that fastball more, and keep it down there. You're going to be okay.
And working quickly here, 3 balls and a strike on Willingham with Pudge Rodriguez and then Adam Kennedy coming up. And that's a leadoff walk.
That is not okay.
Remember, Loesch was 3-0 with a 1.97 ERA in the first month of last season. Then he was hit by a pitch, and it became an injury-plagued season. You talked about searching for the right feeling. Just never got that feeling back, and you wonder if he's ever felt like he did a couple of years ago.
Well, it's not an issue anymore, and he feels good.
And that's a ball to Rodriguez, out to visit Molina. Pudge Rodriguez still going strong. We've seen many of these players in other places, some of them homegrown talent. Pudge Rodriguez off to a terrific start. Ryan Zimmerman, Christian Guzman, we talked about his days in Minnesota. Clippard out of their bullpen, and then Livan Hernandez into right, and the catch made by Ludwig, the 14-time All-Star, retired. And here's Adam Kennedy. He has given Kyle Loesch fits in his career. 12 for 29 against Kyle. Kennedy was looking for a job last year, eventually wound up with Oakland and had a solid season at the plate. He had 289. This year at 245. Kennedy out to left. Holiday over. Makes the catch. Ian Desmond, their shortstop. They are very high on this kid. Say he's got a very good arm, great range, can hit for power and run. Ian Desmond, their shortstop.
Well, he's 17 RBIs, ranks tied for 4th among NL rookies. 25 of his 51 hits during his brief career have gone for extra bases. So you're talking about that combination.
And a spectacular September with the Nationals. And this is one of those guys that's kind of the new breed of shortstops at 6'2", nearly 220 pounds. Bigger guy.
Doesn't look that big, though, does he?
Looks tall to me.
Looks tall, but 220?
Yeah. Now, Loesch walked the first man in Willingham, and then he gets 2 opposite field fly ball outs after the walk.
For a sinker ball pitcher, he's recorded 4 outs, 4 fly balls. The 5th one was the caught stealing by Molina. So, not an indication that sinker is really working yet.
2-1 pitch. In the air to right, and that'll drop in for a hit. So Desmond is aboard. 2-out base hit. Roger Bernardina, their center fielder, will hit.
He's been hot the last 4 games. 429, a couple home runs, 5 RBIs. He's hitting 4 straight. He was recalled late April.
Speaking of sinker ballers, Joel Pinheiro, complete game yesterday for the Angels, and we'll see the Angels next weekend here at Busch Stadium.
And we'll see him this weekend.
So 2 on and 2 outs. And the first pitch taken for a ball.
And you have to talk to Loesch again. See how Riggleman really has loaded up this lineup with the left-handed bats. And Dave Duncan very positive, very much thinks that Loesch is getting very close to figuring it out.
His pitching staff has been just outstanding since day one, but the offense, as it is sputtered, needs to get a little better, obviously, and it will.
It will. You just hope it's not at the time when the pitching slows down.
1-1. 2 outs, 2 on. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Good breaking ball here.
It's one of the better ones he's had. One pitch.
Change up.
2 outs, runners in scoring position. The center fielder 1 for 5. Washington has dropped 3 straight, but they're still above 500 and playing much better baseball here in 2010.
They just kind of had their offensive problems when they were in Colorado. Got swept there. That makes a difference when Dunn's out of that lineup too.
Another breaking ball and a strike. 2-2. Dunn has been battling the flu. Just caught the corner. Two. Down the right field line. It's well hit. And this ball is foul.
Sometimes when you study hitters, you watch how they take certain pitches. And when he was, the way he looked at a couple breaking balls that were pretty good breaking balls, you knew that he was looking for a fastball. So he's got the 2-seam fastball. And up a little bit. Remember, you got left-handed hitters or low ball hitters.
That's tapped near the first base line. Loesch to Pujols on a fair ball, and a good play by Pujols on a ball that was drilled at him by Cal Loesch. 4-0 midway through 2. Here's by Cal Loesch. 4-0 Cardinals in their half of the second.
Stanley really struggling on the road with that ERA over 14.
Seen tonight where Felipe Lopez has been activated for the Cardinals, and Brendan Ryan gets a mental break, you would think, and hope.
Classified now as a utility player.
And that will be caught by the second baseman.
Because Felipe is just coming off the disabled list, and been 3 weeks or so with the elbow, aggravated elbow, that you don't know how many games he's going to be able to play in a row, or there'll be times where he'll play second or third, kind of moved around, and maybe the pressure will be off Brendan Ryan, just not knowing, assuming every day he's going to be out there and getting buried. But he needs a little mental break, doesn't he?
He does. It was just about this time last week where the errors were piling up for Brendan, and you wonder if it just gets carried over to the plate. He's such a good defensive player with the outstanding range. And I thought, Al, in the game that the Cardinals won in Cincinnati, that play, the double play to end the game off the bat of Hernandez, is one of the biggest plays for Brendan this year. Just because if that gets by him or bobbled, that could unravel real quickly.
Took a bad hop and really caught it up against his chest, almost underneath his armpit. And I'm sure if he would have missed that and did not complete that double play, which won the ball game, he would really, you would definitely keep him off of any bridge or any high hotel room.
No sharp objects.
Yep, they'd take the razor away from him.
Let's not go too far. It is baseball.
Shoelaces, belts.
2-2 pitch to Felipe Lopez with one out, nobody on. Now time is called.
Now those are the kind of clubhouse jokes that when a guy is going bad, your own teammates start ribbing you and telling you things like that. It is a way to kind of relax you.
Check swing and a strikeout.
Like a pretty low pitch.
So the second strikeout for this right-hander. New innovation here at Busch Stadium this season is Cards Cash. Add money to the barcode of your ticket and use it at any concession stand or kiosk in the ballpark. You can get $12 Cards Cash for just $10 whenever you buy tickets in 2010. For more information, visit cardinals.com/cardscash. Here's Ludwig. And this is slicing to Harrison right. And he dropped it. Ludwig to second. And he'll wind up there. Harris seemed to be very casual going after that baseball. It was slicing near the line, and he can't come up with it.
You're exactly right. For a guy that's got good speed, he kind of was coasting underneath it. Thought it was going to be a routine play, and you knew it would just keep on taking away from it. Very generous double. He scored here for Brendan Ryan. But that's a play that has to be made at this level. I mean, for Ludwig. See, we're trying to do anything we can to help Brendan now.
Brendan is
change the stats for him.
Talented kid, as you know, Al, and it's just a matter of time, hopefully, before he gets out of it.
At least he knows which way to help hold the bat.
Talking there with Joe Mather. Here's Holiday with 2 outs and a runner at second base. Matt Holiday in the third spot in the lineup. Walked and scored the first as the right-hander got the first 2, and then it was a walk by Holiday, back-to-back singles by Pujols and Rasmus, a triple by Freese, and then a single by Molina. He stole a base and then was left stranded.
It's been a pretty tough game on Willie Harris, hasn't it?
So far. Holiday slowly hit, and he's retired. Cardinals have stranded 2, and they lead it 4-0 after 2. Baseball brought to you by Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. And right now, Jack in the Box is offering a variety of menu items and letting people choose any 3 for only $3 plus tax. Here's Stammen, the pitcher, looks at a strike from Kyle Loesch, and it's 4-0 Cardinals here in the top of the 3rd.
Kid can swing the bat a little bit.
Saw that shot. We were doing our billboards, and beautiful Forest Park here in St. Louis. I will be there a number of times this summer. You and Westland, I'm sure, will be there. And Jim and Tyler will be there. And E, my wife. St. Louis Zoo. Golf courses and all the different things to do. And a strikeout. Jim, you had a chance to visit with Tony La Russa prior to the game about the big story here with the Cardinals coming into play today, and that's switching Albert Pujols to the cleanup man, moving Holiday to 3rd. And we touched upon this earlier, but this was actually Albert's idea going to Tony, correct?
Well, the first thing I think Tony wanted to do was downplay the whole shakeup of the lineup as not being important. Obviously it is. He kind of rolled his eyes kidding around when he said, I didn't think this would be much of a story. But he said the idea was broached by Albert Pujols in an attempt to help Matt Holliday perhaps see some better pitches. Now, Tony was quick to point out that Holliday coming into the game was hitting .299. Not a bad average, although they were hoping he would do more, as Tony likes to say, damage in terms of run production. They think that this switch gives him that chance.
Here's the 0-1 pitch. Ground ball to Albert. He'll take it himself. And there's 2 outs. Let's take a look at the changeup for Kyle Loesch tonight.
See how he has a circle changeup. The thumb and the first finger forming a circle on the inside part of the ball.
That's that circle grip.
In my estimation, it's not for better pitches to see. It's just to kind of get him to relax, because he has not been producing with runners in scoring position. And it worked the first inning. Second time up, he got an RBI. We had a man in scoring position and a little squibber right back to the pitcher.
There's Christian Guzman, who flied to right first time up. Don't you think, Al, after you sign a big contract that first year and you press a little bit?
Yeah. You know, management will tell you, hey, just do what you've done. We've given you the contract based on what you've done in the past. We just ask you to, to do the same thing. Be near your career numbers, but all of a sudden you feel you have to justify it, and you put so much pressure on yourself. It's tough to live up to, especially early.
1-2 pitch and a strikeout of Guzman. Albert Pujols leads it off when we come back. Vegas, Nashville, or Portland. Text City, A, B, C, or D to 432-432. Of course, Washington relocated from Montreal. And we look forward to your texts. Here's Albert Pujols. And, Jim, you had a chance to hear what Albert had to say about this move.
Well, this was his idea, switching to the number 4 spot so that he could hit behind Holiday. And when Albert was asked about the switch, he said, I don't want to talk about that. You guys know I don't care where I hit. So he wanted to take no credit and really didn't want to discuss it.
And he'll lead it off here in the third. Pujols has a single up the middle and a run scored.
But Tony kept underscoring the fact that this was Albert's idea and what an unselfish player Albert is.
And Holiday, you got to figure that the frustrations have mounted for him with runners in scoring position. In that regard, it has been a significant struggle for Matt Holiday.
Yeah, so it just takes a little pressure off him. Albert can hit any spot in the order. You know, Holiday's accustomed to hitting in the third spot. And let Albert drive him in.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Pujols. Remember when McGuire was here? And they would bat the pitcher 8th to try to get damage and see him bat 3rd or 4th, and majority of time McGuire 3rd. 2-1 pitch now to Pujols. But as Tony has said, after the first inning, it's a point that, you know, doesn't really matter. A light drizzle now here at the ballpark. 3-1 pitch. 3-2 and a big cut.
Mark McGuire very emphatic before the game that Albert is fine. Bronson Arroyo had mentioned that he believed that Albert didn't look comfortable at the plate.
3-2. I think Albert puts that in the back of his mind and says, well, I'll remember that next time that Bronson Arroyo pitches.
Absolutely.
I do too.
I thought Bronson was not doing it in a malicious way. I think he was just pointing out, and I'll say I agree with him. He's been chasing pitches.
And Pujols hits it into right center. Thinking two, as he always does, and he'll stop it first. With a rocket off his bat.
When Bronson made his comment to me, it was in the post-game interview, and he was basically trying to downplay his effectiveness, saying the Cardinals weren't at 100%.
Exmo Camp, presented by Plaza Tire Service. Well, for 5 years, the Pujols Family Foundation has helped people with Down syndrome and families in the Dominican. Fox Sports Midwest celebrates the milestone. Special interview and pregame ceremony, Saturday, May 22nd, this weekend on Fox Sports Midwest. So Pujols is 2 for 2 in the 4 spot. And here's Colby. And remember, last time he did that was May 30th of 2003. And that particular game, he was 2 for 2. Rasmus, an RBI single with 2 outs, and his 17th that he has driven in. Now, maybe you could talk about this, but Jim had Kyle McClellan on the pregame show, and I thought an interesting observation from Kyle was the fact that because he was competing for the starting rotation, that his changeup had been much more effective for whatever reason. But because he was stretched out.
Yeah, he's throwing more pitches. So
he talked about his changeup being a lot better.
More innings, so you have to utilize more weapons.
He hits it out of play.
It's really difficult, pitching 1 inning, or like most guys do, late inning work, to really have more than 1 pitch, 2 at the most, really sharp. But if you're going to pitch in the rotation, you've got to have 4, 3 or 4 pitches, unless you have just 2 outstanding pitches.
1-2 pitch now to Colby instead of check on Pujols. And going into the season, we weren't really sure about this bullpen, but the bullpen has been a strong suit thus far for the Cardinals.
Well, I think McClellan has played a part. I think he gets some credit for, he wanted so badly to be that 5th starter, and certainly he pitched well enough during spring to get it. Jaime was just a little bit better.
And Colby out in front of the pitch in a strikeout. 3rd tonight for Stammen. Voting is now open for the 2010 All-Star Game in Anaheim. Help send your favorite Cardinals players to this year's game. You can vote up to 25 times at Cardinals.com.
One thing that happens when you have so many young guys down that bullpen, you just hope they can take the success they had from last year and build on it this year. But because some of those young guys are power arms take a little more time in the spring to find their groove and their velocity. So some of those guys were shaky. That's why you really felt the Cardinals felt the need to put Kyle back into that bullpen to stabilize from the right side in those middle innings. And now you're starting to see Boggs, who was very effective last time out. Mott is improving, but they're all work in progress.
And you have the luxury of having 2 lefty specialists who are ridiculously good.
Reyes off to a great start. We saw Miller a year ago put up very good numbers. And for folks that have just joined us, Albert Pujols in a shakeup in this lineup, batting 4th, Holiday 3rd, and the return of Felipe Lopez from the disabled list. The switch hitter playing shortstop tonight. Brendan Ryan on the bench. Tyler Green sent back. And this is hit to short. Out at second. Can they turn it? Out at first. Double play. We'll talk about Felipe when we come back. Visit FoxSportsMidwest.com for around-the-clock coverage of the Cardinals. And you can read Pat Paris's take on this week-long homestand. Pat Paris has a weekly web column. It's called The Patrick. And you can see it now at FoxSportsMidwest.com. It's The Patrick. I'm reading it as we speak. And did you know that in The Patrick right now, the Nationals have not won at Busch Stadium since May 27th of 2007? That's a span of 6 games.
Yeah, it's lost 6 straight here. The Cardinals, they have really dominated against the Nationals.
And Pat has some of the pertinent numbers for this series, so just head to FoxSportsMidwest.com and you can see The Patrick. The 2-1 pitch to Ryan Zimmerman is a strike. Jim, we mentioned that Felipe Lopez is back in the lineup for the Cardinals tonight.
Yeah, he came back from the elbow problem. There was some concerns because he had trouble throwing the ball. He had a throwing problem. Whether or not he was 100% ready to go, I talked to him before the game, and we'll see him test out that throwing arm right now.
Out at first.
And Felipe said the arm is not 100%.
So he can come in here, do or die. He has really shown, and this is his first game back, really his first play, but the few times he did play shortstop prior to the injury, that he has a lot more range than I think we thought he was going to have coming into the season. And that's a real plus. You know, he can play second, play third. Good bat coming off the bench, a switch hitter. Right now with the problems with Ryan, he's going to get a lot of playing time.
Do you know your Hungo is now sponsored?
Yes, I do.
I just went to the website.
Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, Farmers Insurance has got the Hungo Award.
Yeah, if I remember, I told you that Friday.
I don't remember that, and I rarely pay attention to you.
And that is effectively truthful.
That's 1-1 to count on Josh Willingham. But there's a nice picture of you here, Al, with the Hungo. That's the
that is
Hungo.
the Hungo.
Yeah.
That is the actual award there, Dan.
A little darker in that Fu Manchu and the hair on the Hungo, but
I have earned the gray.
I've helped you earn that gray.
Yes, you have.
The 2-1 pitch to Willingham. I'm sorry, Jim.
We were talking about Felipe Lopez.
Go right ahead. I just was taken back by, I logged on and then Pat Paris was staring at me on the website, and then
well, that's a picture of Pat,
and then right below it was the Hungo. Now go ahead. Well, hold on. Six Flags Day at Busch Stadium. That's this Sunday. Cardinals take on the Angels. All fans 48 inches and under receive a free ticket to Six Flags, and you can visit Cardinals.com to get your seats.
We're talking about Felipe Lopez. Yeah.
Yes.
I was surprised to hear he felt like the elbow wasn't 100%. There was no pain. That's the good news. But he felt like he would strengthen it as he played. He felt like he was ready to go, and he was optimistic that he'll be fine. But wasn't quite where he wanted it to be.
Schumacher there. Good stuff, James. We'll see you on the postgame. I don't think it's ever good for a pitcher to have whiplash.
No, but sometimes it happens in funny ways. Watch this ball go by Kyle Loesch. He kind of snapped at it, and then all of a sudden he felt the pain in the back of his neck, side of his head.
Well, you'll take whiplash when you get ground ball outs, just not the ones that bam off the bat and over the wall.
And that didn't seem like it was even that close to him or that sharply hit, but kind of smiling in the dugout, but he felt it initially.
It's a very light rain here at the ballpark. Almost like a mist.
Heavy mists. Almost like a fog.
1-0 pitch to Molina. Popped up. Kennedy over. And out of play. One hit out of play again. Molina, Schumacher, and Kyle Loesch as we play here in the bottom of the fourth. The Cardinals picked up 4 runs in their half of the first, all coming with 2 outs. There's a big gap in the left center for Molina, the 1-2. Hits it into right. Willie Harris makes the catch. He does not look overly comfortable out there, does he?
No, he doesn't. Remember the big game he had when he was with the Braves? I think he was at least 5 for 5 in that game. And today, you know, arguably, you know, he had a tremendous jump. He was thrown out by Molina after a base hit. And then, you know, he could have possibly caught that triple off the bat, 2-run triple off the bat at Freeze. Then he missed the other one on Ludwig. Turned that into a double.
Here's Schumacher. The ball will find you, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times we see him play center field, so he's a capable outfielder.
I thought it was great, though, what Brendan said on that play on Friday night. He said, I was praying that the ball was going to be hit to me.
You have to.
Come find me.
Yeah, when you're, you know, best one was when Pedro Guerrero was playing third base, and obviously he wasn't a very good third baseman. Tommy Lasorda said, Pedro, what are you thinking? What do you think about before the ball's hit? He goes, well, I just hope it's not hit to me. Well, you can't think that way. What else you think about? I hope it's not hit to Steve Sachs either.
Have you seen catchers that have had problems throwing it back to the pitcher? And I know Gary Bennett fought that a little bit at the end of his career, but did you ever see that in person?
Sure. Before I got to the Atlanta Braves, you know, Dale Murphy was a catcher.
Right.
He developed a phobia where he would hit the pitcher. Trying to throw down to second base, he'd drill the pitcher.
Schumacher retired. 2 outs.
And he was such a nice guy, they had to change positions. Mackie Sasser with the phobia, couldn't throw it back to a pitcher.
This date in history, remember this ball game. Ryan Ludwig hits a 10th inning solo walk-off home run off of Dan Wheeler. This date in history presented by Schnucks. Extra innings and Ludwig would end it. What I remember about that series was Joe Madden and his understanding of the history of baseball and what it meant to be in St. Louis and see Stan the Man. And following the home run, the celebration. And here we go in the 5th. And it's 4-0 St. Louis.
You sure like the way Loesch is very quick, getting the sign, throwing the ball, really taking charge. Both sides of the plate. A little bit in, a little bit out. Throwing more change-ups tonight. Not as many breaking balls. A lot more of his sinker.
And there's the sinker there. 2 balls and a strike on Adam Kennedy, who lined out to left. He's 0 for 1. And that's hit out of play. First year for Kennedy, hit .219 for the Cardinals. And the next year he was around .280.
And very unusual. Monday, before the team went to spring training, they released him.
And Kennedy hits it into center, base hit.
As you said, got picked up by the A's. Hit .289 with them, 11 home runs, 63 RBIs.
Here is Ian Desmond hitting .252, 3 homers, 17 driven in. 1 for 1 with his single back in the 2nd. Then was left stranded. Bernardina, who's on deck, would ground out. That ended the inning. 4-0 Cardinals. Light mist here at the ballpark.
Says here this year he was rated as their number 4 prospect by Baseball America. I think we know who number 1 is.
Stephen Strasburg,
who they say will be here in about 3 weeks at the major league level.
They've had a couple players that have seen him, and he's at Syracuse now at AAA, that have come back and said it's a joke. You know, he's just dominating, and if he wanted to strike out everybody, it seems like he could. I'm looking forward to it. As a baseball fan, I can't wait to see him.
And I think that he's a great talent, but don't expect that kind of results here at the big league level.
No chance. Stephen Strasburg at Syracuse, 2 starts. He's 2-0. Will start tomorrow at Rochester. Throws triple digits with a nasty breaking ball. Up the middle and past Schumacher into center. So the first 2 have reached. And Stephen Strasburg, when he was in college at San Diego State, played for the great Tony Gwynn.
Right. And he got an all-time record bonus last year.
How many players have played for both the Cardinals and the Nationals? As we just saw, Adam Kennedy.
Might be surprised. There's a whole bunch.
16.
They haven't been around that long, have they?
So 16 have played for both teams.
Belliard, Dimitri Young, guys like that. Kennedy. Jason Marquis with him. He's having elbow surgery, I think, this coming week, as his elbow has been balking all season long.
Well, when you get Marquis, you think you're going to win.
Sure.
Wherever he's been, they've won.
And he's still talking this year. They're hoping they'll be in a wild card position. Every year that Marquis has played, his team is qualified for postseason. And
Atlanta, St. Louis, Cubs,
Rockies.
Yep.
He hasn't always been on the roster, but he helped get him there.
Runners at first and second, nobody out. 0-1 pitch. Another breaking ball. And Schumacher only played at first, and he threw it away.
That's the wet surface. That ball probably had a lot of English, wasn't hit hard, comes in on do or die play, and then he picks up a wet baseball and just does not find the grip.
So base hit, E4 on the play.
Comes in here to the umpire there, couldn't really make a good throw, got underneath it, threw it right into the dugout. So he just has it, grasp it with his entire hand, and really couldn't let it roll down to his fingertips, so he threw it from the palm of his hand, not his fingertips.
That's the 5th error on Skip this year. This is one of those situations, though, where you have to pick up your teammates. Remember, behind Loesch last week, there was an error committed behind him, and things unravel a little bit. Can't happen tonight. Runners at second and third for the pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's a very good point, Dan. I mean, you know, every pitcher has to think that way. You really have to guard against that mental letdown. Skip's out there trying hard.
And it's 2-1. Stammen, you mentioned that he can swing the bat a little bit. He struck out his first time up.
Last game he was 2 for 2.
Came in hitting .357.
And is down to .333 now with 4 RBIs.
And nobody out here. Big hit in the game yesterday was Bronson Arroyo. Cardinals pitched around the 8th place hitter. Then Arroyo came up and delivered a base hit.
I know we talked at that point. You know, his only RBI prior to that hit off a penny was an RBI off a penny. So he picked up 2 RBIs on that base hit.
Ooh, just caught the corner. 3-2.
Couple pitches. One goes for a strike. One is for a ball. So that one was called a strike outside of the box.
And there's a punch out.
Ooh.
He may have got another break.
It sure looked like it, as Jerry Davis really is. He hit down there. It looks good, but it is off the plate. You can understand why Stammen took it, but he wasn't going to say anything.
And 1 out now, and here is Willie Harris. Jerry Davis looking over to that Nationals dugout. You got the feeling that somebody's barking from inside there. If you're the pitcher and you're Stammen, you're not going to say anything. You want to get those calls for yourself.
You talking to me?
Ringelman's going to go out there, and
I see ya.
It's not Riggleman. I don't believe it's Riggleman that just got thrown out. I think he was talking to somebody else.
And Barry Weinberg, as we have that shot, comes out to visit with Loesch to give him the tongue depressor to clean his cleats.
And I think, and Jim Riggleman is hoping it's not his pitcher. Put his jacket back on. He's sitting there, so
we can hear that clearly up here. You talking to me? See ya.
Former St. Louis and Jerry Davis now makes his home in Wisconsin. Still not sure who got ejected. It wasn't Riggleman, and I don't believe it was the pitcher.
A swing and a miss. Loesch needs a strikeout here. That would be big.
Where Freeze is playing. Claren's still in there. Mustache and Radisson, the first and third base coach, are still out there.
And that's a strike. 0-2.
He's back a step or two now, even with the bag.
And an 0-2 pitch. Willie Harris tonight singled, was caught stealing in the first and the top half of the inning, also grounded out to first. See Molina set up way outside, 2-2.
Set up so far outside, you almost wonder why.
And a ground ball that's tapped foul.
18, 10, 11, and here in the fifth, 22 pitches.
And a ground ball that will score a run. Schumacher makes the play to Pujols, and that is out number 2. North Stars making this Sunday extra special. It's an ice cream Sunday beginning 2 hours prior to the game in the Ford Plaza. Join us for music, fun, games, and don't forget free ice cream while supplies last. North Star Ice Cream Sundays. And that's a strike. Up and in. Watch out. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4-2 game here as we play in the top of the 5th.
Good to see a couple inside pitches just to set up that whatever you want to throw right there. Just get people off the plate.
And it's popped up behind home plate, out of play. One-two pitch. And a grounder again for Schumacher. To Albert. Nationals pick up 2. We're midway through 5. 4-2 St. Louis. Tomorrow at 6:30, it's our What's on Tap presented by Budweiser. The Cardinals and the Nationals will play in Game 2. What's on Tap presented by Budweiser. 4-2 in this ball game as the bottom of the 5th rolls in. Top of the lineup, Felipe Lopez. And the first pitch swung on and missed. You got to figure it would take a little time for Felipe to get his timing back. No rehab assignment, and for the longest time only hit from this side of the plate dealing with that elbow. He did not hit from the right side.
He missed about 3 weeks of playing time, but
hits it down the right field line, and it's foul.
Cardinals waited and waited, and then Felipe really fell into their lap in a very economical signing.
And what has turned out to be a crucial signing.
Yeah, these last couple years batted over 300. What job he did for Tony in the club 2 years ago, and then last year he started in Arizona, ended up with Milwaukee, batting about 310.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. And he's given you protection at 3 different spots. Second, short, and third. Cardinals picked up 4 runs in the first, all with 2 outs. Nationals have answered with 2 in the top of the 5th. 2-2. Felipe tonight has grounded out to second, struck out. Then we'll see Ludwig and Holiday. Set up outside the 2-2. Spoiled. It's a short little bobble, but they get him by a step. Showing off the arm, Desmond. We were told by the Washington folks that this kid is going to be a future star in the league. Stayed with it in the concentration to make the play.
Pretty athletic right there, isn't it? Whole time your body's moving, feet moving, concentrating, watching that ball, juggling it. Fingertips into a throwing position, and had the muscle on it to beat Felipe.
1 out, nobody on. Ludwig 1 for 2 with the double and a strikeout.
Cardinals got 4 of their 6 hits in the first inning when they scored all their runs. And with a little bit of help, that could have been a scoreless frame for this right-hander. Out of Ohio, and he went to Dayton.
Just noticing in that slow-mo replay, looking at Ian Desmond, kind of looked like Derek Jeter, didn't he? The way his hat sits.
Slightly.
And the way he just slung the ball over to first. Not to say he's the next Derek Jeter, but just the way it looked to me. And if he is the next Derek Jeter,
I want to buy stock.
Yes. Before it's all said and done, Derek Jeter is going to have a number of significant Yankees records. 3,000 plus hits, games played already. 2-2. Spoiled by Ludwig.
Took that off the shoe tops.
This is a situation now, outfielders have to be careful and really hustle to the ball on any kind of single. If it scoots away, it's going to hit that wet turf and jump.
You have to hustle, but you have to stay under control. A little overly aggressive, your legs will go out from underneath you.
2-2. Pulled foul. These new stadiums now with a drainage system in there, it's really probably not as slick as you might think. Ludwig in the air to center for the second out. It'll bring in Matt Holliday. Tomorrow night on Toyota Cardinals Live, our pregame show, the cat fight returns with Jim Hayes. It's a trivia contest, great prizes, and all you have to do is just stop by the Helitech Sports Desk. Big Dog, who works up here in the booth with us, he has told us in all his years of television, this is probably his favorite segment of hockey, football, baseball, basketball. It's the cat fight, and it's before every Tuesday home game right here on Toyota Cardinals Live.
People are lining up lining up when the gates open, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
to get in there.
Yep.
The cat fight.
1-1. Holiday walked and scored, then came up in the second with a runner at second and grounded out. It's where it crosses the plate, the Jeep Fox Tracks. Out to deep center. And this ball is tracked down on a fine play by their center fielder, Barandina. Cardinals go in order. It's 4-2. It's what we do. And the Cardinals trying to snap their 2-game losing streak, and Washington trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. Cincinnati in first place, bottom of the 7th, at home against Milwaukee. They lead 6-1.
Milwaukee had a tough series against Philadelphia.
They won't be the only ones, as the Cardinals can attest.
Right. See, Philadelphia is having a little fun at the expense of the Pirates, 12-2 in the 9th.
It's the first time since July 30th of 2009 that the Cardinals have not been in first place. Acquired Matt Holliday and then took off.
Doesn't matter where you are during the season. It's just that final day. Season's over. That's where you want to make sure you're in first.
The year the Cardinals won 105 games, if memory serves correct, they started out the first 40 games roughly around 500, something like 21-19, and then they just took off the rest of the way. It's a long year. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Shallow right. Ludwig with the catch. And it brings in Willingham. Willingham is walked in the second, struck out in the 4th. It's a dangerous out right there, Ryan Zimmerman.
Zimmerman, good all-around player. Willingham got a little power and hit for a live average, but last year he had 24 home runs.
And this is popped up. Pujols, foul territory, playable. He's got it. 2 outs. Make sure to visit Busch Bash prior to every Friday home game in the Ford Plaza for live music and player appearances. And this Friday, it's Brian Jordan. For specific details and future player appearances, please visit Cardinals.com. You click on promotions. And speaking with the Cardinals front office, we're going to try to visit with Brian Jordan, hopefully in the booth, maybe on Friday night.
We'll see. Maybe he is plugging that children's book.
Also, we'll have a appearance at Ozzy's Restaurant. Now on Washington Street, I believe. 15th and Washington. New location for the Hall of Famer, Ozzy's. Rodriguez to David Freese. Makes the play. Takes an extra base hit away. All around good night so far for David. It's 4-2. Powerful, lightweight, dependable, versatile yard care solutions. Start at SteelDealers.com. By Lumiere Casino, visit RiverCity.com for details. And by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T. Rethink possible.
We found out who got thrown out from the Nationals. Very fiery. Comes with the family. Rick Eckstein.
Rick Eckstein is the hitting coach for Washington. He was in the Cardinals minor league system for a while.
And David's older brother.
David was San Diego. 2 balls and no strikes.
I don't see Rick being very volatile either, do you?
Not at all. But maybe he said the magic words. You never know. Mike Rizzo is the new senior vice president and GM for the Washington Nationals. And one of his biggest priorities when he first took over was trying to regroup, get everything in order, and find a way to sign Steven Strasburg. They knew they had the pick. They knew they were going to take him. And they get him. And they also have the 10th overall pick, Drew Storen.
They just brought him up.
Yeah, and Storen is an interesting story because for folks that follow the University of Missouri, you might remember the name of Aaron Crow. Well, Aaron Crow was drafted by the Nationals a couple years ago, and they were about under $1 million apart between the two, Crow and the Nationals, but did not sign. He went back in the draft, was drafted last year by Kansas City, and as compensation for that, Drew Storen decided to sign right away, went into their minor league system, pitched well, and all of a sudden, here he is in the big leagues. And it just, and I know what you're going to say, Al, but it goes to show you if you have a chance to sign and play pro ball, do it.
No
Start
doubt
your
about
career.
it. You know, I mean, to haggle over, even if it's a few $100,000, even if it's $1 million, it doesn't make sense. You're going to make your money. If you're that good, get your professional career started, and that's where you're going to make your money.
Up and into Pujols. He's on base for the third time tonight with a pair of singles and a walk. And here's the play by David Freese.
Hard hit ball from his knees, gets up, throws out the future Hall of Famer.
And Freese is on deck, and here's Colby Rasmus.
Second walk. Stammen is allowed. The first one led to those 4 runs. He walked Holiday back in the first, then Albert. Colby got a big RBI single, 2-run triple by Freese, and an RBI single by Molina.
Colby tonight has an RBI base hit with 2 outs and also struck out in the third. You mentioned the name of Pudge Rodriguez. 14 All-Star selections, 7 Silver Sluggers, but of course the great defense behind the plate. 13 Gold Gloves he has won. Jim Riggleman was saying that they had a doubleheader over the weekend. He wanted to play both games. He's out of Puerto Rico. And a future Hall of Famer.
Set the benchmark for defensive catchers, but his offensive numbers are pretty lofty too. Not very big, but a good offensive player.
Came into this year over 1,200 RBIs, over 300 home runs, and a .299 career hitter. And for a long time, he played in Detroit. But then before that, you think about that field and that ballpark. Then he played in a hitter's park in Texas.
Yeah, it was quite amazing that you know, he one time felt like he was a little sluggish, so he lost about 30 pounds.
2-1 pitch. This is hit out to deep center. It's at the track. It's at the wall, and it is caught. Oh, what a play! And Pujols is back to first. Great catch out there in center.
Nadino, you've seen him a couple times be a little casual going back, but totally under control. Earlier he had to run back on a drive. Here he kind of goes back there, knew where he was. Tall, lanky body, reaches up, hauls it in. Almost loses balance. That was Albert who flashed in front of you, who was all the way to second before he had to retreat.
Now David Freese with 1 out and a runner at first. Freese, a 2-out base hit off the wall in right that scored 2. And David with that triple with 24 RBIs. On his first career triple, he picked up the 2 RBIs, and his season average now at 310. Cardinals picked up 4 runs in the first.
David's got a home batting average of 423, second in the National League. Add to it a little bit for his 1 for 2 right now.
0-1 pitch. Freese pulls it foul. We've talked about it before, but David Freese, very good at going to the opposite field. The pitch count at 92. And the last pitch, a good example, trying to go in, and if he needs to, he's able to turn on a pitch and pull it.
McGuire preaches that take the ball up the middle, opposite field. So it's really easy for David to follow that suit. But he will tell you, you know, if the ball comes in on you, that's the one that you can turn on. But for the most part, you know, until you get 2 strikes, you can even just look at that ball inside, even if it's a strike. But for the most part, pitcher's going to make their living away and then drive that one up the middle.
The 0-2 pitch to David. Stays alive. Grounded into a 6-4-3 double play in the third to go along with that triple. Al, you talked about the bullpen of the Nationals. It's been pretty good this year.
Well, they've got, the thing that you worry about them is being overworked. At the end of it, Matt Capps has been outstanding, 14, but they get a lot of decisions.
Fourth strikeout tonight. Let's go our pitch-by-pitch feature presented by Chevrolet.
Hammond starts him off with a fastball that's up. He's supposed to have a good sinker, so you like to get that down. Another one. And he jams him up and in. And there he paints the sinker down and away and gets a strike. Or down and in, basically.
Here we have two of the great catchers from Puerto Rico, Pudge Rodriguez and Yadier Molina. World Baseball Classic, and it winds up being a tough decision, I'm sure, for Jose Oquendo.
I remember the first Classic they had, Pudge caught just about every day, and Molina was away from the club for about 3 weeks and had about 5 at-bats. So that sometimes retards your growth. And you talked about how he wanted to play a doubleheader, so he's still energetic, wants to represent his country. So it is tough for Jose, who's been named that Puerto Rican manager.
Here's a grounder hit to short. Force play at second. And we head to the 7th here at Busch Stadium. A cool night. It's 4-2. Text poll results. What city is next in line to get Major League Baseball? U.S. Cellular, and the answer, Indianapolis, from our voters. Vegas gets 16%, Nashville 17%, Portland at 7%. And that's a strike at the knees to Adam Kennedy.
Dan, I take it you did not agree with that poll.
Vegas.
Vegas.
And I'd love to see Vegas in the National League.
Vegas in the National League.
That's my vote.
Why not?
At some point, we'll see a sports league expand to Vegas.
And once one does, I think they all will.
Skip can't get it out of the glove. It's stuck in the glove.
Stuck in the webbing right there.
He made a nice play to get to that and to get in position to make the throw.
Well, Kennedy is 2 for 3.
And here we see Kennedy ground to the guy that basically took his spot.
Yeah. It's going to be a little helpless, isn't it? You set yourself, you get ready to throw, you reach into your glove, and you can't. Oh, wait, where is it?
Now, we've seen pitchers where that happens, and then they dig into the glove, they can't get it out, so they say the heck with it, and they just throw the glove.
Yeah, well,
to first base.
It's got like an H glove. That's more of an outfielder's glove.
Little bloop, shallow right, and it drops in. And Loesch is thinking, you've got to be kidding me.
And you go back to to the glove of Schumacher. That's H, like an outfielder, so he can look up in there and shield the sun. Or usually the infielders got the full webbing on there, where you don't have that opening, so it's a tight pocket.
Kennedy read this pretty well off the bat.
Well, remember, look at the angle he's got, so he can look up. He can kind of judge and see that it's going to fall in between the two pursuing fielders. It's over the head of Schumacher. It's going to be in front of Ludwig, and he does get a chance to get a real good jump. We got the activity in the bullpen, a lefty and a righty. Looks like Miller and Mott warming up. Yes, it is.
Mott was throwing extremely hard
and
the other day.
Washington had Slayton up, a lefty warming up, so you can think they're going to pinch it. Looks like they've got Morris at the on-deck circle.
Runners at first and second, nobody out. Freeze has to play in here for the 8th place hitter. With everything that is not going right for Kyle Loesch, he's thinking, I got the ground ball, that good chance that could be out. Then the blue pit, and looks like that may be it.
Well, they're not going to allow him to sink mentally any further. You know, he's going to have an opportunity to win this game and not to have an L. So Tony out to talk to him. He hasn't taken the ball. I'm sure once Barry Davis comes out, now he gives a call. Looks like he wants the left-hander, and it'll be Trevor Miller.
It's our Chevrolet call to the pen, and Trevor Miller coming in. Nice round of applause for Kyle Loesch. Dependable, versatile yard care solutions start at steeldealers.com. By Lumiere Casino, your next home could be on the house. River City Casino and Lumiere Place Casino and Hotels is giving away a $250,000 home, plus 18-room makeovers now through July 2nd. Visit rivercity.com for details. And by AT&T, find out what's possible with the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, rethink possible. So key spot in this game. Looks like the rain is just about over. Very, very light mist here at the ballpark, and a total of 16 pitches thrown by Trevor the last 7 days, as you might expect for the specialist. And the first pitch taken low and away.
If anything, Trevor needs a little work here, and he's been very good in these situations. Had about four consecutive scoreless opportunities.
This is Bernardina, made the nice catch in center off that ball that was hard to hit off of Colby Rasmus' bat. And quickly, 2 balls, no strikes. Remember, he picked up a single, then the air by Schumacher, also grounded out to first. He's got very good speed, their center fielder.
He just looks like he can run, doesn't he?
Yes. Kind of long and lanky.
He played
like a good athlete, too.
Yeah, he only played 10 games last year due to a fractured ankle.
2-1.
Down and Pat Listash, a former American League Rookie of the Year, third base coach for the Nationals.
Two-one pitch. Gets the bunt down. Freeze has to hurry up to first. Ooh, they just got him by a step. By the way, the first base coach is Dan Radisson. And the last 3 years, he was in the Cardinals organization as a minor league hitting coordinator. There's a look at Dan. He's a good guy. And
then prior to that, he was a longtime Cardinal minor league manager, coach. He's been kind of bouncing around with several different stops with Jim Riggleman. Good to see that loyalty. This is Mike Morris.
And Morris reinstated yesterday from the disabled list, left calf injury. Had 3 home runs, 8 RBIs, and 14 rehab games with Syracuse.
He's hitting the ball well there. You know, he was acquired last June in exchange with Langerhans. And he had 8 pinch hit RBIs to lead the Nationals. And he wasn't acquired until late June.
He's played first, he's played third, shortstop at the big league level. All 3 outfield positions for them a year ago. And this has popped up. Key out here. Skip's got it 2 away.
Big out. Pitch hitting is really tough. You know, you can't go up there and take pitches. So you have a tendency to expand your zone, and that's what he does here. Goes after a breaking ball, down low, pops it up on the infield. Can't score that runner from third. Now they're going to pinch hit for Harris. Is this Alberto Gonzalez?
It is. Yes. 23 games beginning on April 14th. Hit 324, a couple of doubles, couple of walks. On base percentage has been over 360 in that time.
He's hit almost 400 against left-handers, so that's why they are sending him up to pinch hit here. And Mott is ready, but so far now Tony will come out and they'll make the counter.
Tying runs are at second and third. And this is our Chevy call to the pen. The hard thrower, Mott, coming in. Good work by Trevor Miller to get the first 2 outs here in the top of the St. Louis Cardinals. Counter after counter between these 2 managers as Mott comes in. Dunn steps in. And Jason Mott, 17th appearance, 1-1. Looked very good his last time out. Now, You get Adam Dunn, who hit 38 home runs, drove in 105 last year, first season with Washington. Remember at one point with the Reds, he had 4 straight years of 40 or more home runs.
And he's swinging the hot bat right now, too. He's a little under the weather, but he came in with hitting in 7 straight games, 10 for 29, 4 doubles, 3 homers, 6 RBIs. He's got 8 home runs and 17 RBIs the last 22 games.
1-0 pitch. And the year that he didn't have 40 with Cincinnati, he had 32, and then he was traded to Arizona and got to 40 with the Diamondbacks. So he had 5 years of 40 or more.
Yes. There were some people that kind of wondered what would he look like in a Cardinal uniform before the holiday discussions were taking place a couple years ago.
You know, he's the only 8th player, Al, to have 5 straight 40 home run seasons.
You know, he's got a lot of strikeouts, but he's got production.
Oof. You think when these two get together, if he would connect, might knock one out of the stadium completely the way this guy hits.
Well, you know, with the velocity of Mott, all you have to do is center the ball, and then you just hope the stadium contains it.
Not the wall, but the entire stadium. 1-2 the count. Last pitch at 97. In on the hands, another good pitch.
97 also.
We saw him, remember, Mott gave up a couple of home runs, and then he sat for a few games, and he came back out, and he was throwing smoke over the weekend.
It's just part of the maturing process. You know, if you can throw hard, hopefully you have some movement. But if you don't have movement, you better have location. And in on the hands, away to a lefty, hit it off the end of the bat, but you hit it in the sweet part of their bat, you know, and with that velocity, and they can center that ball, it'll jump.
Tying run at second base, runners at second and third. See, with the bases empty, much better hitter with his 7 home runs and the 170 average with runners on. And the 1-2 pitch to Dunn. 2-2.
99, and Molina set up really almost totally in the right-hand batter's box. I just don't understand what that does. You're so far outside, it really negates the pitch.
2-2. Guzman is on deck. 3-2 now on Dunn. Biggest pitch of the game right here.
Mott's hitting a spot, but that's where Molina set up, all the way outside. And now you've run a 3-2 where he's got to look fastball. He's got to assume it's going to be in the strike zone. Set up way away again. Catches plate this time. A few years ago, you know, Adam Dunn was just such a pull hitter, and they always tried to convince him to utilize all the field. As you know, it's obvious that if he just makes contact, he can drive it out of any part. That's why they threw a couple pitches in, but primarily have been going away from him. But further out on the bat is the sweet part of the bat.
3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Man chase ball 4, and Mott gets the strikeout. One happy man right there in the dugout, Cal Loach. 7-day long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run, Nathaniel Curry qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit Munganess, North County Hyundai, or St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Doug Slayton, the new pitcher, 5th appearance, 2.25 ERA. Opponents have had good success, hitting .400 against them.
His claim last winter off of the Arizona roster, started at AAA, pitched very effectively there, and has been called up to the big leagues.
Two groundouts for Schumacher. He's 0 for 2. Nick Stavino has moved to the on-deck circle. Pinch hit for Mott. And then we'll see Lopez. Redbirds trying to hold on. 4-2. 2-0 pitch. We've seen that Skip has been much better against lefties. And one thing we've seen is that against left-handed pitching, he's been very adept at going the opposite field.
It's almost the opposite what happened the last 3 years of him hitting 300 overall, but high 300 right-handed, under 200 left-handed. This year he's up more like over 400 left-handed, and he draws a leadoff walk.
Cardinals have received 3 walks tonight. So Mott will bat here, and they'll ask him to bunt, you would assume.
Remember, he started his career as a catcher, and one time was in the Florida State League, was said to be the best defensive catcher in that league.
I assume his arm had a lot to do with it.
His arm had a lot to do with it, and they were talking about his defense. They didn't talk about his offense. He couldn't hit Uncle Charlie, and he became a pitcher.
That's strike one.
And he didn't look like he did a lot of bunting as a catcher either. They made the right choice of him as a pitcher. Riggleman out to talk about this bunt defense. They got a right-hander warming up. Storn, the young man we talked about, who was just recalled today, compensation pick for Aaron Crow.
We talked about that Jim Riggleman has some Cardinals blood, as he was acquired by the Cardinals back in 1976. And he spent the final 5+ seasons of his playing career, Cardinal system, reached AAA, and then he was a minor league skipper in St. Louis's chain from 1982 to 1988.
He was farm director there for a while, and then went on Whitey's staff as a coach,
first base coach, and then he was the minor league field coordinator.
Yeah,
from 05 to 07.
And then after Whitey got his first shot, managed San Diego, then went to the Cubs.
And another throw over. It's only a 2-game series with the Nationals. Florida in town Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon. Then a 3-game set over the weekend with Anaheim. Strike 2.
Cardinals got to win this game to stay a half game behind the first place Reds.
Cubs are tied 2-2, top of the 8th with Colorado. Reds, as you mentioned, hold on 6-3 over Milwaukee. 0-2 pitch. And Mott strikes out. This season, it's easier than ever to find the seats that you want or sell tickets to the games that you can't make. It's on StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. You'll find great seats, great service on StubHub all season. Head to StubHub.com and choose your seats today. Pitching change. And Felipe Lopez will be the hitter when we come back. Debut of a hard thrower, 6'2", 180-pound Drew Storen, and he made the fast track all the way here to the major leagues. He signed with Washington on June 10, less than 24 hours after being selected by the Nationals, and played only 2 seasons at Stanford. 10th overall pick. We talked about him earlier being the compensation pick for losing Aaron Crow. And here's Storen, and then they've got Strasburg to follow. So the future looks bright for Washington.
Well, this is one of those situations where they knew they could sign him early, and then they'd have their extra money to hopefully sign Strasburg. But this kid, you really got to like him, and you know he's thrilled. He's from Indiana, so I'm sure he's got a lot of people here. Brownsburg, he was called up today. Started at Double-A this year, raced through there, went to Triple-A. Has not walked a man all season long. And they just like that aggressive attitude, and said a real smart kid, went to Stanford.
Visiting with Stan McNeil today of the Sporting News, who was on a radio program in Indianapolis, and Stan is a baseball writer for the Sporting News, and they asked him about Washington, and he talked about this young man, Drew Storen. And Felipe hits it down the left field line. It is slicing, and that catch is made near that side wall. It's a heck of a play. And Al, how about this? So the host said, "Hey Stan, if you wouldn't mind holding on as we take a break." He said, "Sure." As you see the catch made by Willingham.
So he can reach out there as he's preparing to collide with the wall.
And the host said, "By the way, Stan, Drew Storen is my son."
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I guess he has a dad that's in the business, but what a great story this guy is. So I'm sure family and friends are here.
He was 30-2 with a 1.55 ERA as a senior. He was Indiana's nominee for the 2006 Wendy High School Heisman Award.
Originally drafted by the Yankees.
Notice he collects hats and bobbleheads.
You better make a visit, Al.
Oh.
Curry favor. 1 ball, 1 strike with 2 outs and a runner at first.
See if he's worthy.
So he had 11 saves in the minor leagues last year at Double-A Harrisburg. Also at Single-A for them, and that hits Ludwig. And remember, he was recently hit in on the hands.
Hasn't walked a man this year, but he just got one. Just hit one. And not you don't see the reaction from Ludwig as much as you saw him earlier this week. Or still, that doesn't mean anything. All those little bones in the hand. Luddy was telling me he was lucky because it was more in the palm of the hand, the one he got earlier. Let's see if this is. Let's hope it's more in that area, the thick and the meaty part, rather than on the back of the hand where there's no real meat protection. They're looking at the back of the hand, aren't they? Little finger. See where Ethier is. Was he broke his little finger in batting practice, wasn't it?
I believe so, and he's off to a great start, too.
Triple Crown, leading the Triple Crown.
And again now, another opportunity for Holiday with a runner in scoring position. Runners at first and second, 2 outs, 4-2 Cardinals. Here in the 7th. Two outs, 2 on. Holiday looks at his strike. And again, if you're just joining us, Holiday moved up to the 3rd spot. Pujols drops down to the cleanup spot in the lineup for Tony La Russa. First time in over 1,000 games that Pujols has done that. Since back in 03.
You hope is Holiday take a little pressure. That he's been struggling driving in runners, but you'd hope maybe he would be getting on ahead of Albert, but he's back to an RBI situation.
2-1 with 2 outs. See why they're high on Storm with that mid-90s fastball, and they say his slider is very sharp, and Jim Riggleman out to settle his young man down.
I think that's it. Just know that his whole world's racing in his mind right now, and just slow him down and said, just go out and have some fun. 6'2", 180. He is 22 years of age.
What a thrill it is, though, for him not only to be in his first major league game, but his catcher is a future Hall of Famer and one of the best.
And I'm sure this is, he got family and friends here. This is.
You'd have to figure he's been to St. Louis to see some games.
From Brownsburg, in Indiana. I'm not sure where that is, but it's usually Chicago, St. Louis, and Cincinnati. It's all a little circle. Burnett, a lefty warming up.
The 2-1 pitch to Matt Holliday. 2-2 as he spins away.
That's when Matt Holliday, after manager goes out there and pays a visit. And the guy making his major league debut, and probably tell him, hey, just relax. You relax as a hitter and look for a fastball that you can drive.
2-2 pitch. Holliday hit one to deep center. Back in the 5th. Grounded back to the pitcher and walked and scored in the 1st. 7th inning or later, he's at 372 with a couple of homers and 6 RBIs. Schumacher at second, Ludwig at first. Check swing, but he held up.
Off on the breaking ball.
So 3-2, 2 outs.
Well, you wonder right here, do you go with your veteran catcher that says, all right, kid, you're making your major league debut. You got a 3-2 pitch here. You got 2 men on. You got the best hitter in baseball on deck. You got a real good hitter at the plate. You challenge with another fastball, you throw a breaking ball.
Here's a 3-2 to Holliday. Rodriguez runs out of row. Off the very top of the screen and then into the seats. seen his fastball hit 93 and 94 consistently here in this inning. What will he come with here on 3-2?
You know, to have the success, he has to have a decent breaking ball, but he probably would overthrow it. And I think the fastball is not a bad pitch, just elevated.
Here it comes again, the 3-2. Holiday, a swing and a miss. He strands two. Storen makes his major league debut. Live by AT&T Uverse, a better TV experience. Visit att.com for details. And by Bank of America, Cardinals banking only at Bank of America. If you do not want hot dogs and onions, you just go a little healthier. Eat right, Al.
It's right up 7th Street.
Eat right, or
you can't go to Tony's.
If
you can't go to Tony's, you can always go to Eat Right.
Yeah. It's a couple of times now that Holiday's had a chance to do some damage, and McClellan is the new pitcher. And Matt Holliday with runners in scoring position. 2 more chances tonight. And he's now hitting 163 in those opportunities. That's hit out to center. Rasmus there to make the catch, 1 away. The Cardinals 5 outs away from picking up a win.
One of these games where the Cardinals jump out to 4 runs in the first inning and have not been able to add on. Had some chances, but this Nationals ball club, Cardinals have dominated, won 6 straight games here against the Nats here in St. Louis, but they're not an easy team.
38,005 tonight. McClellan is moved into that 8th inning role and setting up for Ryan Franklin. Franklin picked up the same on Friday against Cincinnati.
Cap's warming up for the Nationals. He's their closer.
There's that good breaking ball and taken a little bit low. McClellan only 25, one of the St. Louisans on this club. Scoreless inning pitched on Friday. That was his 4th hold. Had a strikeout on Friday night too. Up and in, and he went 1-2. That ball had all kinds of movement on it.
It exploded right in on the up and in to Zimmerman, an outstanding hitter, and just couldn't pull the trigger. This kid really is one of the best young players in the game.
They say quietly he's turned into a leader of their franchise as well. There's the breaking ball fouled back.
Now has a very good curveball. He can throw that nasty cutter. His fastball can be exploding. He's got a changeup. That's why he was that candidate for the 5th spot in the rotation.
1-2, and that's a foul ball. Seeing guys have trouble getting out of the batter's box with the rain that hit St. Louis. A little slick out there. Cardinals bullpen. Seen a couple relievers in with Miller. Came in with nobody out and 2 on. Got 2 outs, and then Mott, a 97-mile-an-hour fastball to strike out Adam Dunn.
And chase it up out of the strike zone on 3-2.
The breaking ball, that's in the dirt. 2-2 the count. By the way, the Cardinals with 2 errors tonight, both have been charged to Schumacher. The ball that was in his glove, that was ruled an error. Then he had the throwing error as well.
Yeah, I think that slipped my mind.
It's the only one I can think of. Tough play here. Ludwig running, diving. Oh, what a play! Sensational play in right field from Ryan Ludwig. That was sensational.
Ryan Ludwig over the weekend had a nice interview with Jim Hayes. And he talked about early in his career he came up as a very good outfielder. Had a reputation of being an outstanding outfielder. His primary position was center there. And then when he had all those injuries, everybody got the perspective that he couldn't play the field anymore. So he is really concentrated on making everyone believe or know that he can play defensively. And that is an outstanding play. And that really is indicative of how many plays we've seen him make. He's not afraid to leave his feet, and usually with very good judgment.
So 2 outs and nobody on. What a play by Ludwig. And that pitch is strike to Josh Willingham.
Boy, that gets down. That's a double, if not a triple.
Probably a triple, I would think, Al. Liner, look out. Mr. Radisson, watch out. That almost got you. And, of course, all coaches now on the field wearing helmets.
Wanted chin guards in that one.
That's a couple breaking balls that McClellan has not gotten the call.
Saw him walking off the field on this one. And saw Molina set up away, and all stayed in a little bit and was inside. Nothing wrong with trying to help sell it to the umpire.
Two and two. The next to Willingham. Redbirds will have Pujols, Rasmus, and Freese upcoming.
the at bat here.
And he is 0 for 2 with a strikeout, pop out, and he walked back in the second, then was left stranded.
3-2. Fastball away.
Do it
Fastball
again.
in. Fastball away again. Fastball in. That was a good pitch.
Sure was. Three and 2. Would have taken a great play. I was shocked that that ball actually stayed in foul territory, not in the seats.
Fastball away. Got it there. Another foul ball. Yeah, it was far enough down the line that third baseman, shortstop, or left fielder couldn't get it. Wasn't that high. Another fastball away.
3-2.
Fastball in.
Foul.
Slider.
We'll do it again. This will be pitch number 14 of the at-bat upcoming.
Curveball be in the 70s, the slider be in the 80s, the fastball in the 90s. Slider again.
Check swing, he got him. McClellan wins the battle. Nice round of applause upcoming for Ryan Ludwig after his fantastic play in right. Pitched in 5 days, and last time was 11 pitches. We saw him with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and this will be his 19th appearance. Started our telecast talking about Caps, and the last 2 times we have seen him, we flash back a long one off the bat of Skip Schumacher, first career pinch hit home run. It was back in early August of '09, and we also flash back to this confrontation, Buchholz's 10th inning pinch hit home run against Caps.
The time before that, Caps had hit him. So you can see Albert with a little bit of sweet revenge The Caps this season signed as a free agent. I don't understand why Pittsburgh let him go. You know, he only had 4 years of major league service, so he was eligible for arbitration, but wasn't a free agent. And he's leading the major leagues in saves, 14 for 14 this year.
And that pitch at 93. Pujols, a cleanup man tonight. Boy, what a play by Ludwig. It's second out to help out McClellan. 1-1. Pujols tonight. Couple of singles and a walk, on base 3 times. Pujols down the left field line. Foul. Let's take a look at the Hardy's prime cut of the game. And so many times it's Albert Pujols. The pitch that was up, he got on top of it and singled. Caps 27 saves a year ago.
He led the Pirates in saves last 3 years. As I said, he's leading the major leagues this year. He's inherited 4 runners. They've all been stranded. Very good ERA, under 1.
What doesn't make sense is that he's only 26 and they let him go.
I mean, there's nothing more demoralizing for.
There's a rope off the glove of Zimmerman. Pujols to first and safe. And limping.
Kind of jumped for the bag there, and you know he'll be okay, but it scared Tony, and Barry Weinberg will come out and check on him. He's the batter's box. It's just a rocket, so now he's off to the races, and then kind of jumps for the bag. And if you don't land right, you know, you can turn an ankle. You'll catch that the bag, you know, kind of in the middle of your instep.
Initially, I think he thought the ball was caught, and then he had to take off.
Got to buy the Gold Glover at third.
Here's Colby Rasmus, who's 1 for 3. Colby hit one to deep center. And that hit was taken away. Dina made a nice play against the wall.
But you know, Dan, when you get a club like the Pirates that have lost for 17 years, now there's the theory that when Ralph Kiner was hitting home runs and hitting the home run champion for the Pirates, going to negotiate a contract, and they said, we can finish last with you, or we can finish last without you.
Into center, and that's a base hit. So back-to-back singles.
But when you have a lead, you're a club like the Pirates, you got a lead, you got to be able to close those games out. And they had a good one, and Matt Capps, you would think he wasn't going to be that costly.
I believe he's under 4 years of major league service.
He had 4 years. He had 4 years.
Okay.
So he was arbitration eligible. He'd been, you know, his second year of arbitration.
But as you mentioned, at some point you still have to have veterans around you to help you out and win games for young players.
Sure, and nothing demoralizes a club to play hard for 8 innings and then have a lead and can't close out the victory. But a little surprising, the Nationals, but maybe they were so aggressive because they have really had problems of blowing saves the last few years, so they wanted to get a reliable closer, and they have one.
Caps had signed a letter of intent to play at LSU as Freese will bunt, and it'll be runners at second and third. How about that? When you got David Freese, 24 RBIs with an RBI triple that scored 2 earlier, bunting here in the 8th.
That's team baseball, and that's what it dictates.
But Caps and Molina, runners in scoring position at 249 today. The Cardinals at 3 for 6. But going back to Matt Capps, here's another guy from Georgia, Douglasville, Georgia. He actually played with Jeff Francoeur and Brian McCann growing up. Amazing the impact of that run of the Braves and what it's done for Major League Baseball. All these guys that have come from that area.
And got the weather there that conducive to play baseball, but Braves in their 14 straight years of postseason play excited the youth.
Just to show you the impact that Caps has had, the Nats had saved 61 games in the last 2 years. They also blew 53 saves. 53 the last 2 years.
That's what I say. You know, a team like this that's really trying to pick themselves up from the bottom, they've got to just capitalize on every time they have a lead.
Hey!
And Riggleman, instead of having a chance to bring him in with a lead, has to bring him in this game because he just hadn't had any work.
Infield is in. Here's the 0-1. Big at bat here by Yadier Molina. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think he's trying to get Pudge Rodriguez' attention here.
Yeah, it's Pudge he just yelled at. And
Two and 1.
they got a righty warming up just because they don't want Caps to throw too many pitches, but they believe that if they can get out of this inning, still a 2-run deficit, they got a chance to come back off the Cardinal closer. Base hit could score 2 though.
Broken bat, slowly hit to second, and a run will score.
Well, I thought they had a shot at home. A 3-run lead is almost automatic. Of course, Pujols was well down the line. And Pudge didn't want any part of it, too. He told the second baseman to go to first.
I know you were shocked to see Pujols running on contact. Here's Skip. We just showed you that flashback against Caps. He had the pinch hit home run, Pittsburgh, late last season. Rasmus is the runner at third. 5-2 Cardinals. Franklin has been getting loose in the bullpen. Washington will have Pudge Rodriguez, Adam Kennedy, and their shortstop, Ian Desmond, coming up in the top of the 9th. Nick Stavinoa has moved to the on-deck circle. Will we see him? Skip up the middle. Desmond can't get it. Base hit. 6-2 Cardinals. And it's another 2-out RBI. That's 5 of the 6 runs have scored with 2 outs.
That's when you know your offense is clicking. When you get those 2-out base hits. Skip extends his hitting streak now to 7 games. That average creeping up there. And Stavinoa, who is really coming into his own as a pinch hitter. He hit .355 last season as a pinch hitter. That's what he's currently batting. .355 overall, and he has 6 pinch hits this year already. A couple pinch hit home runs.
So Franklin, as we mentioned before, he had 16 pitches on Friday, but then that was it. Did not pitch Saturday, didn't pitch yesterday.
Not a save situation any longer, but always important to win the first game of a series. Even more so with the 2-game series.
And the 0-1 pitch to Nick Stavinoa. Chops it towards third. Zimmerman, the Gold Glover, makes the play with ease. Sends us to the 9th. Franklin coming in, and it's 6-2.
Harris and Jack Clark standing by. Kyle Loesch returns to form. Jack will break down Albert Pujols' big night. Plus, we'll have player reactions straight from the Cardinal clubhouse. It's all coming up after the break. Ryan Franklin on to pitch as we send it off to Dan and Al, guys.
Okay, Jim, good job tonight. Thanks. Ryan Franklin in, 6-2. Cardinals, top of the ninth. And that ERA of 2.93. Opponents hitting 271 against him. He did give up a run on Friday night but picked up the save.
Saw there, no walks on the season, as he is a real control master. So even though it's not a save situation, you got to keep him sharp.
Curious, Al, to get your thoughts. We saw Mott bunt for himself, and Tony did not use a pitcher to come in that spot. Mott did not continue in the game. And I'm assuming he just felt that he can get that bunt down, being a former position player, I guess.
That's, you know, you have to assume that, but
Rodriguez out.
Because if he didn't, you know, you think he'd use one of his starters or one of his other bench guys. And also pretty much signals that that's what it's going to be. The strategy is a bunt and a bunt only.
One pitch, one out. Here's Kennedy.
That's what you really hope for when you come in a non-save situation, or you come in like Caps did, try to get a little work, that you have a, you know, 3 to 5 pitch inning. Feel like you don't even have to take a shower.
And a strike.
I'll take it anyway.
Al, you come up with some dandies every once in a while.
Well, it's not quite like
breaking ball that's hit into right.
Good night for Kennedy. His third hit, and the only time he was out, he lined out to left.
You know, Kennedy now over 10 years of Major League service, 10 years in the big leagues. I believe when he made his Major League debut, we were up in Montreal.
Yeah, former Cardinal, high draft pick with the Cardinals.
Came up as a shortstop and then moved over to second base.
And was what he in the trade was it with the Angels? I want to say Bottenfield was in it. That sound right?
Are we thinking of the Jim Edmonds deal?
No, or was it? Yeah, I guess it'd have to be. Thought they played together, but that's what threw me a little bit.
That was Bottenfield and Kennedy for Edmonds. And that's a base hit out to left. Kennedy will stop at third. And it's first and third. One out. Desmond, the base hit. Player of the game presented by Budweiser. Kyle Loesch, 87 pitches in his 6 innings. Pitched into the 7th. And the Cardinal stunner is our Budweiser player of the game.
How about the bottom end of the order? Kennedy in the 6th spot's got 3 hit. Desmond is now 4 for 4 out of the 7th spot. This hitter has 1 for 2. And the only other hit of the night was Willie Harris to lead off the game, and he was thrown out by Molina.
Bernardina now. The way he runs, it'll be tough to double up. David Freese is playing in over at third base. Pujols is playing behind that runner at first. We've talked about it a number of times. You know, this is a chance for Washington to take that bag and avoid a double play.
Right.
Not running.
Molina's arm, they're still a little scared to get that big lead. So you've got Albert playing well off the bag at first, playing behind, letting the runner get a tremendous jump. And you've got Freese at third base playing in for the bunt.
1 ball, 1 strike. Runner not going. Pitch is grounded foul. Desmond now a 4-hit game. And that matches his career high. Did it once last year.
Cardinals on Friday night in Cincinnati with a 2-run lead and a leadoff single with a left-handed batter up. They had Albert playing back all the way almost to the grass. as they didn't want to leave that hole vacant. And the Reds stole the base. Johnny Gomes.
1-2 pitch instead of check on the runners. One and two. The next by Ryan Franklin. Here it comes. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Struck him out. Got him to chase. Pitch seemed to be a little bit low.
Low breaking ball. Kind of backdoored it. Bottom fall out of it.
And there's 2 outs. Runners at the corners. Morse, the final hope for Washington. Cardinals trying to send them to their 4th consecutive loss and snap their own 2-game losing streak. Fans on their feet here at Busch Stadium. Post-game show coming up. You'll hear from Tony La Russa. Jim Hayes will have a live player interview. And reaction from the Cardinals clubhouse. 1 out away from that. 1-0 pitch. And now the runner takes second base. No steal. A base hit could cut the lead to 6-4 and then bring the tying run to the plate. Niger Morgan has moved to the on-deck circle, the former Pirate. Speedster. 2 balls, no strikes. Two and one.
Talked about Morris, who pinch hit early in the game and stayed in. 6'5", 230. They said he was a shortstop in high school.
And Alley has played shortstop even in the big leagues. Primarily over in the American League with Seattle. Two-one pitch. Morgan, who's on deck in 49 games last year with Washington, really gave them a boost. He had 351. And Pujols comes up with it. Franklin there. Albert takes the base hit away. And that's the ball game. Cardinals hold on 6-2. Great play by Pujols to end the game. Take a look at the replay here.
A couple errors in this game for the Cardinals, but there were more plays like this. Excellent play by Pujols. He had the one by Ludwig, and a nice team victory.
Post-game show coming up.